けない水イオンサプライポカリスエット
It's Wednesday again. Good evening, everybody. This is the Wednesday Night Mouse Party. I am the Impost. I always imagine I'd never tried the Pocari Sweat. I always imagine it being kind of syrupy. I don't know.
Probably.
And, we were almost late because Night Strike just had to show us the mole on his ass. I don't know why. But,
No, don't blame this on me. You weren't paying attention because you're still sick.
So since you're talking, how you doing, Night Strike?
I'm here.
All righty.
I showed up. Second show in a row? There you go.
Yeah. G-Webs, how you doing tonight?
Fair to middling. Thanks for the invite. Thanks for the link.
Oh, no problem. Man, he just finished up with the tactical quiz, which I believe Baron won tonight.
Baron
Is that what you call it when like an adult comes into a playground with a bunch of little kids playing t-ball and just like ravishes the scoreboard with all the points? I think he left like 1 point. Some little kid.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah, I missed 2 questions.
G23, how you doing tonight?
Enjoying life. Thanks for the invite.
Oh, no problem. It's nice to have you on. It's a rarity.
You still on the beach?
Nope. I've made it back home.
Baron, how you doing?
Doing good. Making lots of noise. Slinging up an M1 right now.
There you go. I got my sparkly stickers in. I don't know if you can see the sparkles. There we go.
Mention yourself full screen, eh?
Oh, hey.
Speaking of M1s.
Somebody knows what they're doing. There we go. There's my sparkles.
Sparkle.
Sparkles. So I haven't decided. There's another one that I'm getting in. This will be very limited. I think this one will be one where I have to meet you in person. Shake my hand and I'll give you one.
Really?
Yep.
Gonna make me do that?
So that means I get one, right?
Yeah, I will send you one. But and then I've got a few of these. I've been hitting up on Instagram. The different sticker companies will run specials, so I've been hitting all the specials. They'll be like 10 for $1 and stuff like that. So,
okay.
Having different ones made up from different companies. I've got a few more coming in hopefully this week. So I'll show everybody those. Some of them are very limited. Like I said, there are only like 10 of them. So not everybody will get one. Iron Road.
Hello, everybody.
Iron Road's here. Wow.
Oh, yeah, back again.
It's not that long. It's not that far of a drive. I can drive back up to Washington.
You're always welcome. I've got a shed out back you can stay in. You know?
It'd probably be better than that hotel that I stayed in last time.
Well,
When
it's
he
not
came-
as.
when
You
he
didn't stay at a Super 8, did you?
It was like a La Quinta Inn or something, but he happened to stay at the hotel where the city put all the homeless like the day before he got there
Oh no.
because
So,
they cleared out a homeless camp and put them in the hotel.
so essentially, you're describing a Motel 6.
Mm. We'll leave the light on for you.
Yeah.
The meth lights.
Well, you got to start somewhere.
So let's see who's out there tonight. Baron was out there first, still winning. DJ Play Nice. He was out there. Don't know if he's still out there. Gunpowder Beauty. And CNT Design and Arms. I think I'm gonna have him make me. He does. I can't remember if he uses a water jet
Plasma.
He uses
Plasma
a what you call it, a
plasma cutter.
plasma cutter. Yeah.
Yeah, I think after we finish the rifle build, the Let's Build a Rifle project, I think I'll get together with him and have him make me a sign. I haven't decided on should I get one of the mouse one pictures or use I don't have the boar, my other one, but and G23, who was out there. He's in here. He's everywhere. Guns Barbecue, feeling his way through the dark. Well, G Webs was out there. Midget with carrot cake. I kind of do like carrot cake.
I don't like carrot cake.
Oh, a little
That
iffy
was
on
my-
midgets, but I think
I'd rather
Raisins or no
have
raisins?
I'd rather have carrots instead of carrot cake.
Carrots or carrot cake is
Carrot
fake.
cake was my dad's favorite.
no raisins in carrot cake. I do like raisins. I like
Okay.
them in cinnamon rolls and sometimes in oatmeal and in oatmeal cookies. I like raisins.
What
Pink
about raisin?
Panther.
What
was
about
that?
Raisin Bran? What about Raisin Bran cereal?
I don't like Raisin Bran cereal. I don't like the bran in Raisin Bran cereal. And Telos
Good
is
for clearing you out.
Super colon blow. And Gabriel's out there too. And I'll check the Gilded here in just a little bit, Pink. And today's video was directed straight at you, Pink. So if you haven't seen it, do me a favor, Baron. Can you grab a link for the video I put out today and throw it out there?
Yes, I
And
can.
I'll grab a link for the poll, today's poll, and throw it out there. So if you haven't voted in today's poll, here's a link for the poll. And it was, what is old school to you? So let me share that screen.
And I'm not using my alt accounts tonight to affect the poll. So
But what is old school to you? And this is just it's always kind of weird when you hear someone younger than you referred to back in the day. But for them, that's old school. That's back in the day for them. So we had the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, and the 60s, and the 80s won it with 35%. The 60s at 29%, the 90s at 21%, and the 70s at 15%.
If we were just basing this off of like music, which is what I did, I'd gone with which is why I went with the 80s. But if it was like if there was 50s on there, I guarantee I would have picked 50s, and generally that's because I defined the old days as the era in which my dad lived in and grew up.
I usually think of the 70s. I grew up in the 70s and the 80s. And we'll take a quick look at the comments. Mike McClune said, born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s, 90s. So to me, old school is 60s. but would have chose 50s if it were an option. And
Yep.
remember, if I use pictures, I can only have 4 choices. If I use text, I can only have 5. So there's always stuff that's going to get left out. But Gun Website says 60s are vintage, 70s are classic, 80s are retros, and 90s are old school. Guns Barbecue said, I lived through the 80s. I would like to say it was the best 3 months of my life, but I don't remember much of it. You know what I think makes it the best by default? Krabby Turtle said 90s was like 10 years ago. That's old. That's not old school yet. It was a little more than 10 years ago.
It's a little more, unfortunately.
23 years ago.
Vanessa
missed it.
Kitty, Vanessa Kitty said below 60s. I grew up in the 60s. Iron Road said not 50s or 40s. No 50s or 40, 30s option. And classic YouTuber 05 said all of the above.
Good man.
I'm mad you didn't have the 1800s on this list.
1776 should have been number 1.
It's
Well,
only
you
old
could-
school if you don't have electricity, right?
You could have left a comment, G23.
I completely based my choice off of one of my favorite music. What was that? Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah.
That was the 80s, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, the music, like the song in that, and then there's a couple of other 80s songs that I really liked. That's why I kind of defaulted to that.
M. Gabriel says, you know you're getting old when you see women younger than you start hawking wrinkle cream.
Oh my god. It's
Yeah.
true. It's true.
Tello says, I was born in the mid 80s, so saw less of its TVs, but some. I watched more 90s stuff.
You don't have to be an old person to like old stuff. I mean, I was born in the 90s, so
I watched all the old TV, black and white TV shows and stuff when they'd run on. God, now I can't think of the channel, but
TV
like
Land.
Me TV,
those and
Hallmark Channel.
before Comedy Central was Comedy Central, there were 2 comedy channels: the Ha channel and I think it was called the
Improv?
Comedy.
Or no, that's a venue. Improv.
So I'd watch the old. That's where I'd watch the old comedy TV shows like Phil Silver Show and Addams Families and ones like that. Two Live Moose said Phoebe Cates. Enough said. Pink is saying Led Zeppelin Cashmere.
There you go.
Before Tello said before TV Land was Nick at Night. But I can watch the old black and white movies and appreciate them for what they are. They're not the storytelling in them, is usually can be good. The technology isn't as good, so they don't quite look as good.
Remember, in older movies, the pace of the movies are slower than they are now.
But I can appreciate them for what they are.
They're old movies. Exactly. You appreciate them as, classics.
And a big one that I've talked about before is like Star Wars, where younger people don't like the original Star Wars because they don't look as good as the new Star Wars.
Even the remastered versions.
But when it came out, it was groundbreaking for when it came out.
I was speaking of that, I remember having that exact chat with my stepfather. He was telling me that when he went to go see, I think it was the 4th one, or whichever one where it has the Star Destroyer going overhead and you see the bottom of it, and he's going, "Holy shit! This is a
Yeah, New
huge-
Hope.
That's a big that's a big battle cruiser."
It's a big ship. Yeah.
And of
I can only
course,
think of Spaceballs when I see that now.
oh, and of course, and at the same time though, and he was born in 50. My dad was born in 52. Mom was born in 58. He was born in 50. Yeah, screw it. Well, I just know that for a fact that he did copious amounts of marijuana at the point in time. So being in a theater and just baked out your mind watching a space movie must have been pretty entertaining. So, don't do drugs, kids.
Did you see it in theaters, Foss?
I did not see the first one. I saw the second one, or well, I guess
Yeah.
the episode 6, 5. Now I'm getting myself mixed up.
I don't think I've met anyone that saw the first one in theaters. They always saw
Yeah.
Empire.
I didn't even see the first one until the
Are you
80s
talking
on
about
TV.
Star Wars?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen Star Wars in the movie theaters.
I'd ask my dad, "Hey, did you ever see Star Wars?" He's like, "No, I was busy working." Okay. Fun to talk to.
But I did, I saw The Empire Strikes Back in the theaters. That was the first one I saw. First Star Wars movie that I saw. I had Star Wars toys when I was younger, but I hadn't seen the movie.
Interesting. So the toys just spoke to you, or you knew about it enough?
I guess I knew about it enough. I don't remember. I had one time my grandma called me on the phone and she said, "Oh, did you leave your Star Wars record here?" And I didn't have a Star Wars record, but I'm like, "I'll take it." So I went over to her house and went to pick it up, and I was grade school, and it wasn't a Star Wars record. It was Jesus Christ Superstar. I took it anyways.
Same difference,
Yeah.
right? Luke Skywalker, Jesus Christ. What's the difference?
Superstar. Yeah.
C&T Designs and Arms is, so let's get this party started.
The Force, Son of God, same thing, right?
Well, it is basically Jesus with a lightsaber. So
Moo is saying, Spaceballs, we're surrounded by assholes.
Yep.
how about no, you crazy Dutch bastard?
And M. Gabriel's bringing up hand shot first. I thought that little bit, having him shoot first showed his kind of roguish nature where, he's fun and likable, but he'll shoot you first if he has to. And taking that out, kind of, he lost something.
You
Well,
know, it's
they
funny,
want-
though.
They wanted to portray him more as a good guy than a bad guy, and that's why they redid it. And I know I get where you were coming from because I saw it originally, then the remastered when they added stuff in. But
Well, he has a redemption arc, a small one, but he changes his ways.
What's funny, though, if they had done it the other way around originally, no one would have gave a shit.
yeah,
No, see, you guys are looking at it wrong. Just because he shot first doesn't make him a bad guy. Because in the state of Washington, you can defend yourself before you're assaulted.
oh, is that how that works?
G23 is the meme. Anyways, so I started blasting.
So I started blasted left and right.
Gun-toting pacifist is out there, says only users lose drugs. And Pink says you would have liked Fritz the Night Owl because he hosted a late movie that hosted B&C horror movies. Half were black and white, and half you could still see wires of the monsters and arms. I think every um, every part of the country had those kind of shows. There was one. I don't know if he's still doing it. It was on one of the PBS channels that I would watch Saturday nights. I haven't watched it in a couple years, so I'm not sure if he's still doing it or not. But he would do the B movies, and I can't remember what his name is.
So remember, there's also
Svengoolie.
Yes, Swengoolie. Thank you.
this is later on, but there's also Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah, I did like that. I liked it better with the original host, like always.
Right.
And when they had a lower budget, and I don't remember the name of anybody. Joel, I can't remember if Joel was the original or the guy that came in later. But yeah, that was good. They did a good job. And if you have never watched it, it's
they watch a lot of old movies and whatnot.
yeah, it's a guy that gets stuck on a satellite or a space
station or something,
and is forced to watch, as a punishment, is forced to watch B movies with
robots,
two robot friends.
Yep. I enjoyed it.
Pink said he saw the first Star Wars in the theaters.
He's old as dirt.
Wheeled and Well Armed is out there. Good evening. Good morning. I think it's morning for him. I think he's past midnight.
Yeah, I'm past midnight.
That past bed? We past bedtime, are we?
Past.
M. Gabriel says I saw the first Star Wars in the theater on Parents' Choice. I wanted to see a movie about a mutant bear. What movie is that? What
Jungle Book?
Yeah, he was musical, not mutant.
Musical mutant, same thing.
I saw that in the drive-in. I saw it. I still like that movie. I have it. I should have the DVD somewhere. CNT is bringing up. I really need to watch Blazing Saddles. That movie was funny as hell too. Telos says hand shot the other guy. Did not in old VHS.
in the VHS. But what about the Betamax? Because they released all three original trilogy movies on Betamax too.
I had the original collector set on VHS, and I wish I got rid of it when I bought the DVDs when they did their touch up, and I wish I had kept them because it was the original movies, not all the added stuff. And Telus also says a huge fan of Elvira.
A lot of people.
Speaking of DVDs, remember when they used to give you the full screen version and the widescreen? You'd get a whole separate disc over. Yeah.
Yeah, now it's just, it's all widescreen now because it's 16:9.
The way God meant it to be. That used to confuse me with the original Star Wars. The scene where he's on the Banthas and he's looking for the sand person, the sand people, and in the widescreen you can see it when he's looking and he says, there I see one. In the formatted version, you don't see him when he says that. And when I would watch it on TV now and again, I got confused for a while until I realized that, oh yeah, one is widescreen, one is formatted.
The worst is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. You ever seen that in full screen? It's just like a close-up of a nostril in full screen. It's bad.
It's really funny to watch the 70s kung fu movies in widescreen. Do you realize how short those guys are?
Wow,
Tim S
that's
is out
mean.
there.
That's mean.
Yeah, the Godzilla movies are way better in widescreen.
And that's your chance to say mean. You really don't know how short those guys are.
Oh, they short. Tim S also saw the Star Wars in the movie theater.
Speaking of Godzilla, guess what I learned today?
Gojira.
What was
King
that?
Kong versus Godzilla 2 is filming right now.
Oh, just what we needed.
Really?
Yes,
Thought we were
really.
going to win this one without it.
So you might get a second chance at a better movie.
I doubt it.
I doubt
Well, this
that.
one's not going straight to HBO, so they might put a little bit more effort in.
Don't count on it.
Michael Dunn's out there. Two Live Moose said he saw Jaws in the theater in '76 when he was 8 years old. Probably didn't go swimming for a couple years. And Pink is thanking G-Webs for tonight's show. You gave me an idea for patch number 2, a glow-in-the-dark pink. Also, Cop Car Life.
You know what's scarier than swimming after watching Jaws? Sitting on a toilet after watching YouTube videos of rats crawling up toilets.
I thought you were going to say snake on a plane.
Snakes can do that too. They can climb right up a toilet.
Yep.
I've heard of snakes going up people's chimneys too.
Yep. Up or
Yeah.
down?
Both.
Sergeant Joe Smith is asking, is 1979's Prophecy movie the Mutant Bear movie?
Star Wars wasn't 79 though, right? Wasn't
No,
that
it
like
was
77?
Star Wars, the first one. I wasn't alive yet, so don't ask me.
I was scrolling on the other page. I couldn't click, but thanks, Pink.
Yeah, I think the original Star Wars was 77. That's what it says.
So let me show. Crap! I'm just remembering all the stuff that
The
I
banner
did.
and the gilded and the comments and the thumbs up.
So there's the banner with
There
email.
it is.
If you want to send in pictures, comments, suggestions, you can send it in to untactedfoss@gmail.com. And there's also a link there that'll get you somewhere that you can do some stuff. Excuse me. And there's a link in the description for the Gilded place to hang out, share pictures, memes, chit chat.
It's the alternative to Discord.
It is.
You know what Discord doesn't have?
Dirty Discord. Yeah.
The overnight
DM.
server.
The overnight server. That's what it doesn't have anymore. Because I thought I was there, and then out of nowhere, I wasn't there.
How
And
many
it was
people
gone.
thought, did I get banned?
You know, I thought about that. I was like, "What the hell? What did
What
I
did
get
I
kicked
do?"
out for?" And then Baron's like, "No, we moved over. We moved over to Gilded." And I'm like, "Why did nobody tell me?"
Yeah, I decided just to, rather than a long drawn out transition, just rip the Band-Aid off, cut it off, and start Ungilded.
Gone pretty well.
It is. There's, I think, 33 people over there.
Mhm.
There's room for more. So if
How many
you're
of
not-
those are Night Strike alternative counts?
Nope, I don't do that. I don't. I don't do that with Gilded or Discord. Sorry. Only on YouTube for you.
One of the selling points of our server, we will help you navigate the CMP process. Get M1 Garand if you want.
Oh yes, someone just did that.
I like
Indeed.
mine.
A high school in Pennsylvania got 6 of them delivered to them by FedEx.
Getting
Nice.
that
On purpose?
They say it was by accident, but hey, come on. It stayed over the weekend. He had to show it back up Monday morning to pick them up.
having my name on it show up on that certificate of authenticity is just the cherry on top, and quite honestly it's what I think it's well worth the wait of going through the CMP process rather than just having instant gratification through like a gun broker or something like that.
And you'd pay double easy on Gunbroker.
Yeah, especially on Gunbroker or any website.
Especially for the one I got.
No, I never got that set me.
It's spelled CETME. No,
He's blind. He's trying.
I know.
Honcho Fed's out there saying, sorry, I can't get an M1 due to having to pay for other people's student debt.
Ooh, he went there.
Sorry.
Wielding a well armed saw the Bad News Bears open for Jaws at the drive-in in the 70s.
That's a good double feature.
Yep.
Don't have any student debt, but I do have a GI Bill that I have not used yet.
Well, you better use it soon before it's gone.
Who wins in a fight? Walter Matthau or the Jaws shark? What do you think?
Grumpier old man.
Who's Walter Matthau?
That's my thing.
Grumpy old man, Walter Matthau, or
And Jack Lemmon, yeah. They were in The Odd Couple, too.
I was trying to remember his earlier movies, and I can't think of the one I'm thinking of. But I don't know. He's a scrapper.
The best way to kill that shark, by the way, is an M1 rifle.
And an air tank.
I would say C4.
I was gonna say a nice crew-served machine gun.
Didn't he get it with the last shot?
Surprised he didn't get hit.
You can't shoot into the water. You can't shoot into the water.
Well, the shark had an air tank in his mouth, and he shot the air tank, and it blew up. And blew up the shark.
How effective is a bullet into the water? Like a few feet?
If that, yeah.
Well, if half of its head is out of the water, what does it matter at that point?
I've seen bullets shot underwater, and they don't do much because it's not enough. Whatever, it's too much friction and stuff. But from the outside going into the water, they probably got a little bit more force. But I don't think movies are right because movies are freaking always different.
Nope.
So let me show. Pink put up on his Instagram a response to my video I put out today. And he's showing his kaiju collection. His Japanese monster collection.
Kaiju.
Gojira.
It's Gojira. And we cannot forget, it's Mecha Gojira.
It's the quilt he was talking about yesterday, or not yesterday.
Mecha Godzilla.
Have they ever tried feeding Godzilla air tanks and shooting them?
No, that wouldn't work. Because of the nuclear breath.
Well, you'd have to have an awfully large air tank.
What can kill him? Like you can drop a nuke on him, and he's fine.
Well, it depends on the movie. Is one of the movies they had little tanks with satellite dishes that shot electricity, and that hurt him. Mothra, well, it didn't kill him, but was able to wrap him up in silk.
Do you only go for the stuff that exists, or do you allow new stuff to come into the Godzilla realm?
Like, has he ever died in a movie?
There was a tour in the 90s to show all the places he destroyed in Japan. It was a bus tour. It might have been just around Tokyo. And it was, they held a funeral for Godzilla.
They got for Star Trek, I think they have a cartoon where it's about the people that live on the other decks that aren't the main, people in the normal show, and it's like a comedy. I think it's the cartoon, right? So there should be a cartoon, except more like Animatrix or Heavy Metal or something, where it's more interesting in sci-fi, and it should be about the wake of Godzilla's epic battles. Like, the people that lived in the towns that got smashed, or the people that knew the people in the boats or something, Just the aftermath of Godzilla.
That's the title. Godzilla Aftermath. And it's a garbage man going around picking up stuff.
And then you just get like a whole bunch of different directors submit with that, general idea. And then I think that'd be cool.
I think you're saying Godzilla died in the first movie.
Does it count if he dies and then they radioactive pollution him back to life?
I think that counts. Because if you killed him, you killed him. Like, if it works, it works.
Yeah, well, it's like saying, oh, I killed it, but I didn't cut off its head, so now it can come back to life if, somebody does something to it. So that's all you've done is temporarily put it to sleep for a while. You didn't really kill it.
So I guess in the original, the Gojira, they stopped his heart with cadmium missiles, but he was revived later by fallout of nuclear missile strikes in the upper atmosphere.
Great.
And Sergeant Joe Smith says Grizzly was a Killer Bear movie from the 76-77. Maybe that was Mutant Bear movie.
King Kong can definitely die, by the way. He can get taken out by an airplane.
Oh, yeah. And the hornet's nest that's out in the front yard. I tried the 7 Dust, and it didn't seem to work. I think part of the problem was I couldn't get it down far enough into the tunnels. And so I dumped a bucket of soapy water, which I think worked, because when I kicked the stones around the border, only one hornet came out. I'll check it tomorrow. That's the tried and true way that always works is a pot of boiling water. You dump it down there, that'll always kill them. But I didn't feel like running outside with a pot of boiling water, so I tried just a bucket of water with a little soap in it. Hopefully that got it.
Was it Dawn dish soap?
Yep. Dawn dish soap is great stuff. It's good for cleaning.
Did you use the red color, Dawn?
Nope, the original blue.
So Iron Road, I got a question.
Yeah,
How many times have you pinged that rifle so far?
only a couple.
Oh, you got to bump those numbers up.
You got to get those rookie numbers up, man.
I fully expected a ping tonight while we were on air.
Me too.
No, I got it locked into.
What are we talking about? A Garand?
Yep.
Yeah.
I've actually done more drill stuff than I have actual pinging because if you see my profile picture, I actually got the honor and privilege of being a part of the color guard at one of the NFL football games.
Nice. Is that for the Seahawks?
Yeah, that was for the Seahawks when I was still in. It was it wasn't a playoff game. I think it was still preseason, but nonetheless, I think it was a cool thing to have done.
Is that a 1903?
It's I believe so, but it was one of those solid rubber versions
Copies.
of it, drill rifles.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so
I've seen those.
Those are
That
so
was-
expensive right now.
Yeah.
just for
Because-
$400 for something like that, that really surprised
Because
me.
the price of rubber. That's why.
And so, but yeah, I think they're based off of the 1903 and the Enfields. How do you, the pronunciation?
Probably the 1917 Enfield
Yep.
30-06.
Because I remember the doing some actual Google searching for what are the typical drill rifles the U.S. military resorts to, and when it comes to like every day, it's generally like the 1903s, and especially for some odd reason, the United States Marine Corps has a better affiliation with the 1903s than they do the M1s for some reason, even though I think they look way better with the M1 Garands, and they tend to, like, from action reports after action reports, they sang the praise of the M1 way more than the Army ever did. But the typically you'll see the silent drill platoon with 1903s or 1917 Enfields. And it's only when it comes to, like, recently, my uncle Jonathan, he was a Vietnam vet, and he was buried with full honors and had a 21 gun salute done for him. And they typically do those with the M1s because for some reason they can't account on soldiers knowing how to reload the rifle. So.
Yeah, my dad had it wasn't a 21 gun. It was, I can't remember. Was very little when that. It was less than 21 gun salute, but gun-toting pacifist says it's cheaper to pay for kits as opposed to rubber. Don't know about that. And Wielden Well Arms was asking, did anyone see the Nazi zombie horror movie from the late 70s?
Nope.
What was the name of it? Sergeant Joe Smith said Shockwave, and I looked it up, and I think it is Shockwave. I think I'll have to see if I can find it. It's a movie about aquatic Nazi zombies.
Aquatic?
Yep.
Aquatic?
According to Wikipedia, it's something about aquatic. It's a group of tourists who encounter aquatic Nazi zombies.
It could be good or terrible.
Oh, it's
My-
probably terrible.
Guessing
My
terrible.
bet is terrible.
Yeah.
But I still want to see it. I don't mind terrible.
Yes, you do.
Well, it depends on what kind of terrible. Some terrible is
Modern
Can't be.
terrible.
can't be terrible. Is fun to watch. I used to do that. I'd get off work and stop at a video rental place, and I would rent bad movies just to see how bad they were. And
Are you talking about Blockbuster?
no, it was a corner store, a little Quick Mart that had movie rentals.
I had one on Fridays. It was 5 movies for $5. That's a hell of a deal.
We had Hollywood Video. They closed after a while, but where we used to live, and always Excuse me. Ugh. I always had a problem with them telling me my movies were late after I turned them in. And I got tired of them calling me, and I got upset, and I said, look, I'll come down there, and we'll take care of this right now. Oh, no. You don't have to come down. We'll find it. We'll find it. And that's when I quit renting from them. I found out at I think it was a Blockbuster in Pullman, Washington. Was when I first learned about DVDs.
Congratulations.
We were renting some videotapes, and the person working the counter said, I think we were going to actually rent some laser discs that they had. And they told us about the new laser discs. They're about the size of CDs. And then it was a year or two later that the DVDs started coming out.
They were laser discs with YouTube shorts, one YouTube short on it.
CNT is bringing up Hell Comes to Frogtown. I've seen it. That's the good kind of bad. Hell Comes to Frogtown.
What about that one guy that had that show on the one Cable's channel where he would say it's got this many boobs and this many mutilations and this many machetes?
I don't think I've seen that show.
Nobody seen that show? He would introduce this movie, like movies that didn't have copyright or whatever, those shows like Elvira did. They would just pick these movies they could watch for free, or whatever they did. And then he'd be like, in the intermissions or between commercials, like how Elvira was, he'd be like, they wrecked 4 cars in this, or there's going to be 6 boobs in this movie.
Yeah, I don't think it was Mr. Skin.
No, it was like Billy Bob or something.
Pacifist says Spies Like Us was the first movie I rented, VHS. I don't remember what the first one I rented was. I remember when I realized I could hook the stereo up to the TV. That was an awesome day when I was in high school.
Do you mean the other way around?
Yeah, Joe Bob. I'm guessing Honcho's answering G-Webs. Joe Bob Briggs.
Probably sounded something like that. But I guess you guys never heard of him.
No, I haven't.
He was on the cable when it was, still just a number of cable channels still.
I hooked to the VHS. Hooked the stereo to the VHS, not the TV, to watch movies. I think the first one I did that was the Michael Keaton Batman.
So you were playing the movie through the stereo, not the stereo onto your TV.
No.
Okay, gotcha.
We would hook the VHS up to the stereo so that we could record like a 6-hour radio show onto VHS tape because you could get better audio, and it was 6 hours long.
That's smart.
You could put a VHS tape on. I forget what the mode was called, but if we had like a 6-hour tape, you could put it in our slow mode, and it would be like an 8-hour or 12-hour. Remember that?
Yep.
And we would do that on audio because they'd play concerts and stuff. I live in a town with a school, right? So there's the whatever you call like the local channel that was basically playing stuff for the kids. If a concert came to town or a concert was up in Phoenix, they'd sometimes replay it here over the radio and stuff like that. So you could just put it on a VHS tape back in the day. And then, of course, listen to it like you're saying, put it back to your speakers. But I can't even remember. I mean, I bought all my stereo. I remember when you had to buy stereo stuff, how many people are old enough to have to buy a receiver and then, a tuner and then an amp and then a record player and then speakers and then a cassette player and then a reel-to-reel if you wanted it. What else was there? Equalizer. Like back in the day, that's what I remember. That's my fucking army money went to that kind of shit. Like that was the dumbest shit we bought back in the old days instead of buying an iPad or whatever.
I still have a switching tuner, so that runs. I run everything through it for the TV So the DVDs, I've got 2 DVD players. The Wii U, Nintendo goes through it, and the satellite. And that way I can, the remote I have has, you click the button, you want to watch TV, it says watch TV. And then it makes sure everything is on that needs to be on. And then switches the receiver to whatever signal it needs to be on. That way, because the receiver is actually on the opposite side of the room as the TV. And Coop is asking, who remembers recording songs off the radio and bootlegging tapes? I think every kid from the 80s made mixtapes.
Yeah, but did you put Scotch tape so that you could re-record over the top of them?
Sometimes,
Wait.
yeah.
Well, what was it? You'd put the tape there so that it wouldn't accidentally record, right? Or was it you pop the tab and then it wouldn't record? I don't remember anymore.
Yeah, you popped the tab out so it couldn't record over.
And if you bought a cassette, it would have the hole, so you would just put tape over it. Now you could record over it. We did that, yeah. I think.
Yep.
I had
was you would go to school and then you'd just find some piece of tape. You'd go to whatever cassettes they were going to be playing and you'd record, messing around on there. Let's just say different narration than they expected. And then, you fast forward for a while, you say something witty. Let's just say something witty into the thing and you hit record and then you rewind. I guess nobody did that.
I had for a while, I had a 2D VHS setup where if I ran the signal from through one of the VHSs that I had and then recorded on another one, it would strip out the copyright. Because on some of the old VHSs, when the copyright, it would mess up the picture. For some reason, running it through that one VHS would strip out that copyright so I could get a clean copy of it. Sergeant Joe Smith said my dad had big stereo setup like that. Coop was saying the tape stopped you from recording over it. Yeah, I don't remember which way it was. I know there were times I put tape on and times I didn't. Smeggy 42's out there. Howdy. And then the having when you get the slack in the tape, so you got to put the pencil in there and tighten it back up. Pacifist says, I bought a double cassette player when I was a kid at Sears. Saved up from delivering papers. Thought it was as good as life got. Gabriel saying
where it would fast forward record.
What was that?
There'd be that fast forward record, so you'd some kid would get a tape, and then there'd be somebody with that fast forward deal, so it could record each side really fast, and then be like,
oh yeah. Pacifist is saying fast dubbing. And Cooper saying, or the tape player or Walkman eating tape. Yeah, when it happened in your car's stereo, and then you had to try and carefully pull everything out. And I'm not sure what this is. Sergeant Joe Smith is asking, anyone ever watch movies on RCA Selectavision video disc? When I was a kid, we got a player and movies from the library before VHS.
Not me.
Yeah, I'm not familiar. I don't recall what that is.
I don't think so.
Sounds familiar, the platform for me.
We were like late adopters. Like once something was around for a while, we got it.
And M. Gabriel got an Iowa double remote control deck in 91. That was the poop.
Oh, you know what? I have seen this before. My uncle had one.
Why don't you share what you're looking at, and then
Um,
everybody can see.
I'm just looking at the wiki page.
Oh,
But yeah, he had one, and he left it to me when he died, and his wife gave it away. So I do not have it. That's a bummer. But I mean, it's hers to do with what she wants.
yeah, I don't know. It doesn't look familiar to me. I don't know what that is.
It's kind of like a.
So like this many years later or whatever, you're like knocking on that person's door, and then they answer the door reluctantly, and you're like, you have an RCA Selectavision video disc set that's not yours.
She also gave away his guns that he left me.
So
Well,
here's a
she gave
picture of
us
the Selectavision on eBay.
Is that out of Washington? Maybe that's mine. But I don't know. I wish I had it,
Like
but
an answering machine.
no
or
big
something.
deal.
It looks like Betamax.
It's like a floppy disk CD looking thing. It's weird.
Yeah, they're one of the. Here's a picture of the discs. Let me show that. Yeah, I don't recall ever seeing this before, so I don't.
Yeah, I watched Airplane on that.
We had these one friends that were in Scouts, and their parents bought every single crazy thing. I don't know what their deal was, but everything that came out. So I've seen a bunch of weird laser things before, and they had like crazy radios and stuff. But
Looks like there's quite a library for it.
Oh yeah, he had like
but the thing is, when you talk about
300
going
movies.
to actually going to the library, like they had a lot of weird stuff that you didn't have at home necessarily, like different cassettes and stuff that I'd never seen before.
Pacifist said, remember the first gen DVDs that were as big as your face? You would have 2 discs per movies. Have to swatch. Yeah, those were the laser discs, the big laser discs. And Coop is saying, I grew up the son of an enlisted man. We didn't get anything when it first came out.
I know it's completely unrelated, but I remember in my civics class, not my civics, but my history class, Mr. Phillips, he talked about how back in his day, everybody thought the coolest rig to have was a set of one of those Sony headsets, and it was a Walkman. Have one of those paired up together, and he said you had the King's Gambit.
Yeah, and when you were that age, it was probably iPod, right?
For me, yeah. Well, it was iPod or MP3 player. But then, slowly the developers and mostly it was my generation that said to the developers and like Apple and Android and Samsung, like, it's kind of silly we have to have two devices to listen, one to listen to music and one to have our phone stuff. So why not we just combine the both?
I still use the iPod.
The classic.
No, the smaller one.
The one that's only got like
Nano?
a couple buttons, no screen.
Yeah, Nano. Sometimes if I'm when I'm mowing the lawn or something, or I used to sometimes take it with me when I went fishing and listen to music. I held out for a long time. I didn't want the iPod stuff. I didn't want iTunes or any of that. So I'd buy the just MP3 player. Which was okay. It did the job. I got to listen to music.
I bought an MP3 player at some point, and I never looked back. I mean, that was never going to bump it, never going to have to worry about the tape again. You could just throw as many songs as you wanted. Pretty much every song I ever remember hearing before I could put on there.
And I may have used LimeWire for songs.
Well, you could take your DVDs and just turn them into your iPod and then smush them down with software. So that's what I got. Most of mine were just off my CDs my CDs.
That was another big day when I realized I could download CDs onto my computer.
Yeah, that was like the olden 95 days, Windows 95. You could shove a CD in and have MP3 files. They were kind of big, I think, if I remember right. At least big compared to our storage back then. I remember having to shove them down and kind of degrade them a little bit.
I have a meme about that type of storage. It's like 8 kilobytes of RAM puts a person on the moon, but then you get 8 gigabytes of RAM. Chrome tab browser scary.
I used to download music from Walmart. They had a music service where I didn't like it. I don't like the subscription services.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's one thing I could get on with you guys about is that I do not like. I mean, the only reason why I use Spotify is for the Joe Rogan podcast that I occasionally listen to. But aside from that, like, I don't use Spotify or the iHeartRadio app or the what's the other one out there?
Clear Channel or
something like that, or Apple or CarPlay, this, that, and the other, or whatever. But it's because my philosophy is like I just want to be able to buy the song and have it in my device. Not this weird where I rent it out for like $1 or whatever a month, but then if something lapses on my card, like say if my card expires, then I don't have my music anymore. It's like, no, screw that. That's why 90% of my music now is pirated because of that crap.
And I did go back and most of the songs that I had borrowed via LimeWire, I did purchase those songs. Just because I thought it was the right thing to do. And then when I got into the iPods, it was fine. It was great. You could buy the songs, but the way that they store them is screwy. So I've had a couple times where your list gets messed up, so your songs disappear.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, or you've got songs on your iPod, or if your list gets messed up and you sync it with your computer, since your computer is screwed up, then it deletes what you had on your iPod.
What's really bad about that, and I remember doing this a couple of times, is when you're trying to you get your iPod charger, because it's a USB to a micro USB before USB Type C was even an idea, and you could sync the music to the iPod. But the thing is, if you even so much as unplugged or had that computer shut off, your entire data on your MP3 player was corrupted. because it interrupted the transmission between the two computers. And I remember having to not re-download, but resync all these songs back to my iPod at one point in time.
I've still got a 42-pin connector somewhere for the iPod.
I just do radio now.
In the car, if I'm driving a long distance, then I'll usually now throw in, I'll hook up my phone and listen to
audiobook,
YouTube.
Oh,
catch up on chats and stuff.
Chats and podcasts and stuff. That's one of the main reasons why I like that MCAST RL or a cop podcast that I occasionally listen to. They call it the Failure to Stop podcast. They're more about their the true crime type of stuff.
Smaggy says I had an external CD drive that went 52x.
Wow!
But I remember buying the.
You were blessed.
2x.
You were blessed, Smaggy.
Coop said use LimeWire and Napster to burn kick-ass CDs. Audible is where it's at for books. I got into that for a little while, listened to some audiobooks, and then just kind of stopped. And I looked into it, and listening to a book and reading the book, apparently your brain processes the information the same way, which I held off on audiobooks just because I
Well, what about, is that like if you sit down and close your eyes and listen to it, or if you sit down and, I don't know, but if you're paying attention only to the book, you know what I mean? Like, because I'll listen to a book on tape while I'm driving or while I'm working on a project on the computer. I
remember seeing reading something in Men's Health about psychology. And they say that writing something down is equivalent to reading it 7 times. And I don't know how that necessarily translates to hearing it. However, I have came across sometimes remember hearing things more than I do remember what I've read a lot more often.
Yeah, that's what I would listen to the audiobooks while I was like working in the yard or something like that.
There's some really good audiobooks out there. Like one of my favorites out there is Neptune's Inferno by James D. Hornfisher, naval historian.
What's his last name? Hornfisher?
Yep.
That's a unique last name.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, wow. I still had the eBay site open, and I just saw Selectavision had these.
Hey! Old school and some retro. There you go.
How much bacteria is on that?
They're stuck together.
You can't open it. It's just one solid piece.
Permanently shut. Probably just like you open up the plastic, it's just a sheet of ice.
Oh, I gotta mention, what was it? Sunday morning, we did the 458 SOCOM poll, and I bought that barrel. That was Saturday, right?
I believe so.
The overnight. Well, I got an email from the company they were out of barrel extensions. So I canceled the order because he said it was going to be a month out. He emailed me back and said he had taken a barrel extension off another gun and he built me a barrel. So it's
Wow.
He wanted my money.
You wanted your money that bad, huh?
Yep.
I don't know. That's kind of cool. He did that.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm super happy. This guy's awesome.
That's customer service right there.
In fact, I am going to drop a link to his website for a plug because this guy is fucking awesome.
Coop is saying if you like Star Wars, you will love a book series called Galaxy's Edge. That book series is a Star Wars with balls.
Never heard of it.
Crap.
Who'd we lose? Night Strike?
Night Strike. Hey, hold on. Everybody, hold on.
Private chat.
on. Yeah.
He gave us exactly like 10 seconds before he left.
Yeah, because I would have played that.
GunTube.org is a video hosting website with a streaming feature. Created by Night Strike One, a man with a dream to protect the rights to share gun-related content, GunTube.org is free to use.
Everyone, GunTube, you should go check it out.
If you are frustrated by the limitations imposed by other video sharing sites, check out GunTube.org.
Go ahead, go over to the GunTube. Shut up, you infringe!
So while we're playing stuff, let me play this also. GearWebsites.com for gun stuff, gun related stuff, stuff with guns. Let me get. There's a huge delay between
when stream out in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
But so Smeggy said my buddy's dad had every issue ever of Playboy. He was a good friend to have in high school.
I remember Ron White did a bit about porn. He said, hey, you had to earn it back in his day. You had to wait until your buddy's friend was out of town, or his dad was out of town, go up in the spider-infested attic, look for an 8mm reel, and then what? Learn how to work a freaking projector. That's what. And then after that, all you got was silent shot. It was like it was shoddy or grady, bushy porn.
I had a black and white TV in high school that the electronics teacher he gave me for helping him clean up his closet. But it had the tuning knob, which allowed you to somewhat tune in scrambled channels.
If you got the frequency just right.
And Coop was saying, I'm guessing he's talking about Ron White, the projector skit and the Liberty Bush porn. That was funny as hell.
Yep. I think that special, it was It was called "I'll Shut Up If You Quit Listening."
And I've got I did a short video. Maybe put it up tomorrow. Did a short on the update on where we're at for the Let's Build a Rifle project. The stuff that we have so far.
So are you and Baron both building rifles? Or?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm stealing his thunder.
Oh.
He did. I started first.
Right on.
You will probably finish first, also.
What kind of lowers have you guys already got picked out?
That's the problem. I need a lower. I'm completely out. I've built every single one I got.
Have you not been watching my channel?
You should go to a graveyard and get one of them kind of guns.
Ghost gun.
Oh,
That's a
there
good
you
point.
If you go to Chicago with a book, trade it for a gun.
I promise not to buy an arrow lower for my build.
In Anderson or Arrow Precision?
Well, he's doing an arrow build
Oh.
in 450, so it'd be kind of weird if I did an arrow build in 458.
Oh, there you go.
It's like when your
Yeah.
buddy starts wearing the exact same clothes as you. You're like, hey, what the hell's going on here?
Why did people give Anderson so much crap?
Because they're cheap.
Oh. So it's,
That was
so it's akin to giving PSA crap.
well, it depends. The pre-Dagger Hoopla or post-Dagger, Dagger, where they, took pre-orders and then didn't put anything out for a while. For reasons, but still.
Well, I did get my AR-10. I think it was after the advertisement, but it was before they were even putting the pistol out.
But the first rifle I built was with an Anderson lower, and I've never had a problem with it.
Yeah, what's people's gripe? Tolerances are a little looser.
I honestly just think because it's cheap. That people turn their nose up.
Well,
Because it's coming from the same forge. It's just how they machine the rest of the process, right?
I believe so. Well, but then again, though, people want to complain about that. But the funny thing is, the Sten gun, it's a great gun, but it was made for cents on the dollar. I mean, come on. Yeah, sure.
It's hard to explain that. I'm interrupting.
Yeah, sure. The sights on the thing are less than optimal. They were more suggestions than actual sights, but still worked and killed Nazis.
That's what we're saying, G-Webs.
When you listen to a debate on lowers from ARs or whatever other forgings or whatever, think of like an apple orchard. So the same apple tree is going to have the perfect apple that you give to your teacher to get a good grade. And then it's going to have the apples that your grandma would use to make an apple pie. And then it's going to have the apples that you'd be okay with making cider or applesauce out of. And then it's going to have the apples that you'd feed to a critter or something. And then it's going to have the apples that would go into a bin for fertilizer, right? Out of the same tree, out of the same orchard. So things start, things happen. So when you're talking extruding aluminum or forging aluminum, when you're talking like mixes and batches and stuff, you got all these different things that happen. They always talk about the joking way, like, it was Ivan's Friday or Monday. You don't get an AK made on Friday or Monday because Ivan was drinking or whatever, right? Like there's that like randomness that just happens in manufacturing, period. So then when you get into real companies with ISOs and stuff like industry standards, then there's industry standards. So you'll get this apple orchard worth of apples, and then let's say a real company comes along, right? And that's maybe some debate, but I don't think there is. The real company comes along and goes, I want apples I can give to my teacher, and that's it. And then the next company comes along and goes, you know, I'm not paying you as much as they did, but I want all the apples that grandma would use, and so on and so on. So that's the difference between stuff. Yeah, they come from the same forge, but depending on what testing, it's all about the mix of the aluminum, the pressure, and the results of the extrusion, or if it's milling, if it's the dimensions. But there's so much more when you talk about the porosity, whatever the word is for porousness of aluminum, and the mix. There's stuff in there, so it's easy to blow it off because it's like, oh yeah, my stuff comes from the same company as so and so's. But that's like saying this gross ass apple with a bunch of wormholes in it comes from the same place as your fancy apple. Yeah, of course they do, but they're different. That's my speech on AR.
But I will say the arrows, I don't know if it's called the Enhance. I can never remember the name of it.
No, they only come from like 8 places, and Arrow's one of them, right? So
the Arrow is, I would consider it nicer than the Anderson. The feel of it, the look of it is nicer, but I have no problems with the Anderson lowers. And to quickly address Guns Barbecue's comment there, that I always finish first. Yeah, and a lot of the times I'm the only one to finish. And honestly, to say that a good part of the time I'm the only one in the race.
Oh boy.
So
he's calling you out, Baron.
The goddamn bacon's out there. Good evening.
Hey, I was wondering when he was going to be around.
Guns Barbie says done plenty of Anderson lower builds. The issue I have had is with Anderson and their parts kit seem to be a bit suspect. Not sure why. I've had bad luck with their parts kits. It was kind of funny. The enhanced Anderson lower parts kit was better than the Smith & Wesson M&P parts kit that I got. It was smoother. I am Smeggy. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, how's it going?
Right now I see a dog.
What was the company that was selling D&H GI mags with a new floor plate for like $50?
I don't have a clue.
Me either. But a lot of times these bigger companies just slap their name on it. Like Metgar makes Colt mags, and then they'll just slap Colt on it and charge you 3 times as much.
Metgar makes a lot of different companies, man.
Yep.
That's one thing I learned real quick is try to, in this industry, is try to figure out what comes from where and who puts what stamp on what. So that way you can scope out better deals. Because I wouldn't be surprised if if both the Metgar and the Colt mag made by Metgar had the same level of quality.
Yep, it's just a different stamp on the floor plate.
Yep. I don't know. Maybe that's just me that likes to treat tools as tools. Aaron, I was going to ask, do you know of any stock polish? I've been thinking about, I can't remember if it was True Oil.
Because you got a unfinished stock with that M1, right?
It's the Expert Edition, but as far as I could tell, it kind of relatively feels unfinished. And I was thinking about trying to find an oil or a polish to kind of make it not yellow.
And you don't need to stain it. If you use True Oil multiple coats, it will darken.
True oil.
And
Is that what it's
I
called?
use True Oil. Yeah. And I just applied it with my finger. Just take your time and read the instructions. You should be fine.
Okay. Could probably get that at my local Sportsman's or whatnot.
Yeah, I bought a big old container of it. It's like good for next decade unless it dries out or something. But do be careful. If you have like a bunch of rags with Troy oil on it, like bundled up, they can actually catch on fire because they heat up. Yeah, you can have a house fire. So be careful about that.
Goddamn Bacon was asking, so what did you all have for dinner? I had nikujaga, meat and potatoes with rice.
Buffalo chicken and fries.
I had some leftover PF chains that I cooked a couple days ago. Had some-
If I said anything, I would wind up like.
I had bun claw and spring rolls. Authentic Vietnamese food from a place called Saigon.
That's a long drive. Ozzy Osbourne's out there. Good evening. Oh,
as far as Troy oil, getting them like soaking the rags in water won't help. As soon as it dries out, it will start heating up and it will catch on fire. The easiest way to deal with it is to just burn the rags in a safe way.
It was just, I had the dog outside. Were we talking about the rags that you wipe off a 9mm with?
No, Troy oil and like boiled linseed oil will, like if you have a rag soaked in that and you leave it crumpled up, it'll catch on fire because it heats up when it cures.
Oh, I always heard that if you have a 9mm gun and you wipe it off with a rag, that rag will eventually catch on fire.
Yeah, it can't stand living anymore after it touches 9mm.
Oh, for the oily rag stuff, I had always heard, if you have to store them in water, and then if you're to get rid of them, you lay them out to let them dry.
That is one way to do it. The main thing is if they're crumpled up, they heat up more.
Oh.
So if you leave them flat, they can distribute the heat into the air easier.
I don't know. They just burn them sounds best because fire is all cleansing.
Yep.
And does that and that has to do with the chemical reaction that True Oil has with the surrounding environment, or?
Yeah, because it actually oxidizes. That's how it hardens, and it heats up when it does that.
Okay.
But if you're applying it with your finger, you don't really have to deal with rags. That's why I use my hand. Somebody can clip that and make a joke.
You're not worried about a little while later your finger catching on fire?
No, I cut the finger off and burn it. I make sure.
Oh, so I think we'll wrap her up. Iron Road.
Is this because Night Strike left already?
Yeah, it's just not the same without him.
We didn't get to talk about his mole.
Make some videos and plug something.
Oh boy. Oh well, I don't really have much to plug. I could definitely try and make some more videos. Maybe a video of me shooting my M1. How about that?
Yes, do that.
Do that. And
you could also do one on True Oil in it.
Do that.
And what else? If you live in Oregon, keep your eye out for that upcoming ballot measure. It was called IP-17, but now it's been assigned a number, and I think it's like 554. It's a gun control legislation. if you're an Oregon resident, you might want to pay attention to that. Vote that off the ballot. Vote that hard no.
What's it
There's
doing?
two of them.
G23 is also in Oregon.
Yep. There's two of them, unfortunately. Quite honestly, it basically makes almost damn near every single semi-automatic illegal.
Ooh, so it's like a assault weapon, quote unquote, ban.
Yeah.
They're trying to copy 1639, but put it on steroids.
And there's no grandfathering, I don't think, either.
Sounds familiar. They're talking about that for us next year. Yeah, no fun. Thanks for letting us know, though.
Yep.
You're the first person I've heard mention it.
I talked about it on one of my lives about like 2 months ago.
I can miss that one.
G23, what you got going on?
Probably a couple of videos here pretty soon. Live stream probably on Saturday, and job hunting.
Well, good luck with all of those. G-Webs, anything you want to plug?
Well, I was going to say, I guess, from the topic of keeping up on the different things at the different states, that's one of our challenges, is to be aware and be able, do what's available and not just observe, but, route our resources or, distribute time and effort that we have available to these issues. So I appreciate the conversations and the community that you help foster so that we can continue to keep an eye on that stuff, because eventually we'll figure out a way to accomplish that. We've done a bunch of that kind of stuff already. So definitely thanks for bringing it up, you guys.
And Baron, anything you got to plug?
Nope. I got nothing.
All right. Excuse me while I cough. I appreciate everybody that has been out there in the live chat. There's links for people that have been on the panel.
When you say that, do you mean Night Strike also?
Yeah, I guess. Kind of like that neighbor that you don't really get along with, but he's, deep down he's okay. And those who watch this in the replay, appreciate you too. You can always leave a comment on anything we talked about. Keep the conversation going. Anything we got right, we got wrong, or left out, let me know. I always read the comments. And if you haven't voted in the poll, head over to the community tab, vote in the poll, and you can look at the previous polls that were done. And yeah, I think that's everything. Is that everything? Other than that, I hope everybody has a good night.